how to leverage Facebook ads to scale your business in today's episode with Kabaale. Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu, mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services. Kabaale is a Facebook ads and strategy consultant for coaches, and she is dedicated to helping online business coaches shine with Facebook ads. And she shares valuable insights on attracting high-quality leads and nurturing growth through tailored ad campaigns. The first question is, what's the first step to take when planning a Facebook ad campaign?
Well, Lily, firstly, thank you so much for having me here. I am so happy to share some time with you and your audience. It's actually very exciting. I would say the first step in creating any ad campaign is making sure you have a tried and tested offer. And by that, I mean something that you've sold before and you have positive testimonials for, so that when you decide to put ads behind it, you know that people will actually want what you're selling.
Thank you. How do you align the ad strategy with broader business goals?
I think it's very important to get very clear on what you want to happen, right? So ads don't bring you sales. Like, that's a big misconception, right? People think like, oh, I'm going to run ads and then I'm going to get all these magical sales. It doesn't really work like that. What ads does is it amplifies your messaging. So if you already have a great offer and a great funnel in place and a great sales system, ads is just going to accelerate that and find people to bring them to you. Just on mute. It happens.
How do you define success in Facebook ad campaigns, and what key metrics should businesses focus on?
I think the success with Facebook ads comes on whatever the goal is of the campaign. For example, I often see that entrepreneurs and coaches, they just run a campaign and then they get all these views or they get all these likes and they're like, oh, it's going so great. And that's usually because they've boosted a post, right? And that's set up that way to give you that vanity matrix, to make you feel like, wow, you're so impressive. All these people saw it. But if your real goal was to get sales, or your real goal was to grow your email sequence, your email list, that's not going to help you. It's really not. What's going to help you is starting from the beginning and setting a clear goal. Do I want to get more emails? Okay, then I need to run a campaign where people are inclined to give me their email. Whether that's through a lead magnet, like you give me something, I give you something, or whether that's through a conversation and then saying, hey, I think it'd be best if we jump on a call. Can I grab your email so I can send you my calendar, the link? So it's really important from the beginning to really understand what it is you want and then optimizing for it. Then you can look at your KPIs. The KPIs will make sense. So if you want more people to see your things, you'll optimize for like video views or impressions. And if you want more sales, maybe you'll optimize for cost per result. You want to get the lowest cost per result while attracting the best kind of lead.
Thank you. What are some advanced targeting techniques that go beyond basic demographics and interest? And can you give an example of how this kind of targeting improved a campaign's performance?
Sure, that's a great question. Lily, you're on fire today. I think for me, a great advanced targeting technique would be something like, it's underrated, but a lot of the time we want to go for a colder audience. We want to go for people who are strangers. And we're like, oh, I just want to bring new people into my world and into my life. But usually, there are people ready to buy right in your group, right in your atmosphere. They've already interacted with your content, whether it's via email, whether it's by interacting on your Facebook, on your Instagram. So sometimes running retargeting ads could be the best way to get an instant result, because those people are ready. They're already warmed up and you've probably been neglecting them looking for new people. So I think always going for a retargeting ad is probably the first thing I would do, because there's so many people there. And then after that, going for your ideal client. I always say, like, what clients bring you joy to work with? When you look back and you think like, oh my word, that was a great client, what kind of person comes to mind? And that's probably the kind of avatar that I would try to target next.
Thank you. One of the key things that I noticed when I was running Facebook ad campaigns before my account got suspended was that I was getting a very mixed range of potential clients. And they were, I would say a large proportion of them were interested in what I have to offer, but they didn't have the money. And then there was another market which did have the money. So I wonder how you can target your potential clients more effectively so you can attract only clients that at least have the money to purchase that particular thing and, of course, are interested in what you have to offer.
Well, first of all, I'm so sorry that happened to your account. If you want to talk about it later, I got you, girl. Let me know. Maybe I can help. But in terms of targeting for income groups, there are certain countries like the US, if your target market is there, you can actually target by income of state. So you can target by like the top 5%, 10%, 25% state of income. You can also think about, clients who tend to have a higher income group or are part of a higher income group. What kind of activities do they take place in? They probably are frequent travelers. They travel internationally. They travel in first class. They have interest in, luxury products. And you can think of what kind of luxury is to them, right? Because it's different for everybody else. I had this great client, and we always laugh about this. All like 90%, let me not say all, 90% of all her clients drive a white Tesla. How specific is that? And you wouldn't have thought about it like to target for something like a car model. But she's like, Carol, I can't make this up. Everybody who is my ideal client and I love working with, and they've become great clients, they all drive a white Tesla. So you need to think about like, what does your ideal client have around them? Who are they interacting with? What behaviors do they take? It's very well, I wish we could just say to Facebook, go find people with money, but we can kind of segment by that. The other way I would suggest is having pre-qualification questions, especially if you're doing like an intake form or if you're doing like a chat, like, hey, let's start a chat, and it starts like with many chats and you start a conversation. Kind of filter them out. Like, are you ready to make an investment today? If you had to make an investment of 5K, 10K, 6 figures, how would that make you feel? So that you're not wasting time on those people who are not ready. I'm not saying they won't ever be ready. I'm just saying they're not ready now. So you can maybe present them with your downsell or a smaller offer, or just keep them there and be like, it's okay. Let's focus on these people.
Thank you. I love what you said about that. Now, I do wonder, for example, for people that are interested in, Louis Vuitton and all of these different luxury products, but maybe they don't have the money to actually purchase. The only way to target them, to kind of segregate them, is it with the form? Or is there any other way within Facebook adverts that you can actually make sure that those people never actually land into your database?
Okay, so it can't be 100%, only on the targeting. I think when we look at an ad campaign, you have to look at the whole thing, right? What are you saying in the actual ad? What are you saying in the messaging? Are you calling out your target group? Are you using words that they would understand and they know it's not for them? So instead of saying like, hi, I have this free thing, you say something along the lines of, are you a 6-figure business coach? I want to talk to you. This is the problem. So you're already segmenting from the ad from the beginning. And even in your ad copy, you can say, are your pain points? Are these things that you're struggling with? Are you this person? And in that, again, person reading it will be like, well, that's not me. Move on, So very slowly you segment even before they get to the point of the targeting. The targeting can be, like I said, choosing things like Louis Vuitton and then narrowing it and saying, okay, it has to be someone who's interested in that, but maybe they're also insert a job title. Let's say you work with lots of chiropractors, dentists, lawyers. Think of careers, entrepreneurs, executives. You can make that the second filter where it's like, okay, yes, these people are there, but because they are in these, careers that technically tend to earn higher, they could be the individuals we're looking for. Like I said, you want to like try and think what makes that individual a high income individual, and not only rely on just the targeting, but the ad, what you show on the page, what you show on the landing page. All these things should segment people out.
Thank you so much. Another thing with the form, once they've gone out of the Facebook ad and they're in your form, one thing I've discovered is that, for example, I had at some point inside my form something that said, what is your typical revenue? Is it between, I don't know, 20 and 50,000 a year, between 50 and 100, between 100 and 500K per year, and so on. And what I discovered is that even wealthy people that I could see they were wealthy and they did, state in the actual consultation I had with them thereafter, they didn't want to actually put there what they were earning. So I wonder whether that's just me, but basically almost, I would say only less than 5% of them wanted to actually put their income, and some of them would even put 20 to 50, and it was impossible that they would have earned that. And then, they would just select something random just to kind of like fill in quickly, I think. So I do wonder, and what am I doing wrong there?
I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think sometimes that question can feel a little bit like, when you're at a bar and a guy comes up to you and he's like, oh my gosh, please be my girlfriend, I just want to marry. And you're like, whoa, my guy, we just met, okay? Let's have a conversation first. Let's figure it out. So I think it could be that they feel like, why are you asking me this? Like, maybe this is something we should discuss in private. Also, was it something that they had to fill in, or was it a drop down?
It's a drop down.
It's a drop down. Okay, so drop downs, I think make people go like, oh, let me just choose one. If they have to type it in, I always find when people have to type it in, it requires more, right? Because now you are physically like choosing things. You're not just going, oh, let me do this quickly and move on with life. I'll tell her on the day. So I would probably A/B test to see if you write it in, what works there. And lastly, I would test rephrasing the question. Maybe add some humor in it. From the scale from Lululemon to Gucci, where you're sitting at, like to try to make it feel like, are we flying on Ryanair or are we flying La Premiere? Like, what are we doing? So in that way, it makes it also comical for them. Maybe it makes it easier to be like, oh, this is me. And you also get a sense of who they are. They get a sense of your personality. And that could also be a way to identify it, just reshaping the question a little bit.
Thank you. What are some key components of a high converting advert on Facebook?
I would say the ad is doing what you want it to do. And I know that sounds very broad, but let's use the example of a lead magnet ad, right? So for me, if my clients generally want to grow their email list, which is something I focus on, because I don't know about you, but like you said, your account got suspended. These platforms we're on, although they're great, we don't own them. Then tomorrow we can wake up and our account is hacked, or it's no longer working, the algorithm changed, I don't know, we have to pay for it. It's a lot. So I always advocate to have something tangible after running ads, which is having an email list. And in that, for me, what is the best key component there would be like to have a quality lead, to have someone who is doing the things we want them to do. Things like, are they opening emails? Are they clicking on things when they're being asked to? If we invite them to an event, are they showing up? Are they moving down the sequence we've created? If not, we've got to segment them out and we've got to ask them, hey, do you really want to stay here or not? And if you don't, that's so fine. We're going to make space for more. I'm a big believer that like when you declutter things, more things come into your life, including money. That's why I'm constantly cleaning my house. But with that too, you can declutter your email list and be like, okay, if you don't want to be here, it's okay. It's not personal. Maybe they were curious and they weren't the right fit. So, yeah.
Thank you. How do you approach creating different ad creatives for various stages of the customer journey, awareness, consideration, conversion?
I think with that, I love video. Personally, I love video. I love to test with video first because I think it's faster. People are just like, right now, they're just more used to it. And I think it creates an instant vibe check. Like you can get someone's energy across and you can be like, okay, I like her. I like what she's saying. I like what she's doing. what she's saying is speaking to me and my problem. So for the awareness phase, I would probably do broader ads. And with that, what I mean is for awareness, your best ads are already probably sitting in your socials actually. So if you have a look at your best performing posts that you've done organically, see the ones that people have engaged with, have commented on, have liked. Those make great awareness ads because they're just ads that are like giving value and placing you as the industry expert that you are, right? And then for more of like a consideration ad, there I would probably do like, would you like this in exchange for that? Let's apply some pressure, right? Let's do like a lead magnet. Let's say, hey, can I give you this script? Or hey, can I give you 10 points to create your best-selling book? And then they give you something back in return, right? So that awareness is more like, I know what I'm doing. Consideration is like, now let's have a conversation. Give me something, I give you something. And finally, it's the sale. How do you close? Do you need someone to hop on a call with you? Do you want to close via email, like sending them to an email and then they go to a landing page and they check out by themselves? Do you want them to attend an event or a webinar or something? So that's the final component of it. I think what the mistake that I see a lot of entrepreneurs make is that they skip these two phases and they want to go right here. They want to go like, I just want sales. I just want this. And they send people to a webinar, or they send people to a book a call, or they send people wherever they send them. And then they like wonder why these people are not converting. Well, because they don't know you and they don't trust you and they're like, no, I don't want to do this. In fact, what tends to happen is that you've actually triggered an idea in their head where they're like, oh, I didn't know I had that problem. Let me look for that solution somewhere else. And they bypass you and they don't come back.
That's interesting. In terms of selling tickets to events, for example, what would you say are the best ways to target people in Facebook ad campaigns, considering you're targeting entrepreneurs?
Okay. Events I like to do, I would say we need long lead times, unless you have a big budget. Because, if you have a small budget, that you're going to run an ad for, it's going to be hard to get a lot of eyeballs on it in time for your event. So whenever clients of mine want to run ads to a specific event, I'm like, when is this event? It can't be tomorrow. I would say like, give yourself time, give yourself a whole month. And you would be surprised because you're like, Carol, a month feels like a lot of lead time. It's not. It really flies very quickly. If you think about it, when you launch your ad, you may still be testing to try and find your audience if you haven't found it yet. So the first 2 weeks, you could still be tweaking your ad. And then realistically, you only have really 2 weeks where you've dialed that cold, if it's a cold audience in, to try and get the right registrations. If you're doing a cold audience and you're looking for entrepreneurs, again, I would think of who is your best client? Like, what do they like? So if you're looking for if your avatar is a little bit more spiritual, a little bit more woo, maybe they're reading self-help books. Maybe they're following certain influencers and industry leaders. Maybe they have, again, something in common like the Tesla. And I would filter by that and I would narrow down and I would test that first. I'd start very broad. And if I see, okay, the people coming through are signing up for the event, they're taking the desired action, that's a good sign. They're like, these people are interested, okay? And if it's the first time I'm running it, I would probably leave it there. But if it's the second time I'm running the same event, I would be like, okay, are they signing up to register to the event and opening email sequences? Are they interacting with the follow-up sequence, like the reminder sequence, like, hey, it's coming up. Hey, are you excited? Hey, here's a little workbook to get you to the event. It's so important to not just leave the lead, hey, you signed up, and we forget about them. Like sometimes I've even seen like, we don't even send like in the email reminder, like a link to put it in their calendar. Do you know what a difference that makes? Because then it's in their calendar, they see it, and it's like, oh, wow, I've got this thing today. So your attendance is a little bit higher. So in terms of targeting, again, I would say, look at your ideal client and have a look at what is there, start very broad and narrow down as you see the quality of the lead is what you're looking for. I hope that helps.
Thank you. In terms of reducing the cost of conversion, in terms of ticket sales, or let's say any other thing that you're advertising online, are there any particular hacks, whether it's using humor, whether it's using video, whether it's using something else that you recommend, that would allow entrepreneurs to get a much higher return for every dollar or pound spent?
Yes. So personally, I would say you want to reduce from the click to the conversion. That's what you're trying to reduce, right? Because if you can get that right, then your cost per result will come down, because what it's calculating is the number of people who clicked on the ad and actually converted. So what I would say is start with the beginning, right? Let's test matrix by matrix. Are people clicking on the ad? Do you have like an exorbitant in your CRM? Do you see at the back on the reporting so many clicks? If this is correct, then it's probably not the ad. The ad is probably performing fine. Also, especially if it's a video view and you see that people are watching, 25% or 30% or 50%, that's a big number. Remember, videos are very short. So even if like you have a 1-minute video and someone watched 30 whole seconds, that's incredible. That's a very, very impressive, If you get someone who watched 15 seconds, also very impressive. It's like, who has time to even watch a video that long, So if people are clicking on the ad, it's probably not the ad's problem, and it's probably not an audience problem, because the audience is finding the connection with the ad fascinating. Now, if you have many link clicks, but few conversions, there's something wrong on the landing page. There's something on that landing page that they do not like. And that's when I would use a tool like a heat map to see where are they stopping to scroll. I would also A/B test a longer opt-in page versus a shorter opt-in page, so that we can see maybe there's just too much information. Maybe it's like overwhelming for them. Or maybe there's not enough. There's no social proof. There's no video on your page. There's no credibility to be like, why should I give you my email? Or why should I sign up for this thing? Those are little things that you can do to bring your cost per conversion down. The other thing is I would say is don't run ads during a very busy period, because especially if you have a small budget, if you're going to run ads during Black Friday, New Year's, Christmas, a festive season or a holiday, know that very big advertisers with thousands of dollars, have huge marketing budgets. And here you come with your little $100 a day. Of course, no one's going to see your ad because you're competing with that. Instead, if you want to run ads during a very busy period so that your cost per result can be down, I always suggest running a retargeting ad to people who already know you. That should bring your cost per result down. Or you could run like a video views ad, which again, you're optimizing for getting as many eyeballs as you want on the video. And hopefully, you know your audience best. If you tell them, comment the word blank, and they're used to doing that, then they will, and you could get more conversions out of that too.
Thank you. How do you retarget people that already know you? What option do you have to click inside the Facebook ad?
Oh, you can do so many. This one is actually quite fun. So you can retarget anybody who's been on your website. You can retarget anybody who's interacted with your Facebook business page, as well as your Instagram account. You can retarget anybody who's watched any of your videos. That's why I'm a huge advocate for like my clients to create videos, especially if one video does really, really well. Like you could change the call to act. You could remake that video and change a little bit of the call to action and make it an ad. And then even more people will see it. You could also retarget for people who you have on your email list by inserting that data into Facebook and getting Facebook to find those individuals. So you have plenty of options in terms of retargeting. If you have like an app or you use WhatsApp, you can also retarget for that. If you have a store, you could do that. I'm not quite clued up on those because that's not my target audience of the type of ads that I run. But generally, you can get away with like, there's people who have, and this is why I say there's people who have been looking at your Facebook, who open all your stories, who open all your Instagram posts, and you just don't put an offer in front of them. And they just are like, okay, well, clearly this lady is not selling to me, or this person is not selling to me. Let me move on,
Thank you. If you wish to target only millionaires, because your program is quite a high ticket program, what do you suggest entrepreneurs do to get high conversions at the lowest possible cost?
Okay. I have a question for you. Do you believe that these millionaires are scrolling on their Facebook and they're looking for the solution? Or do you believe that these millionaires have a team member whose job is to do that? Because if they are the ones who are constantly scrolling, again, I would target for things that would appeal to them. And I would come from a very solution-based background. High network individuals tend to want solutions quickly. This is what I can do. This is how I can get it done for you. There we go. They don't really want to know the how. They just want to know that you can. Like, you get the outcome, right? So if that's the case, then I would target for lifestyle. I would target for income groups. I would target for, are they traveling frequently? I would try do things like that. Again, I would come off very strongly in my messaging, in the videos that I create, in the copy. Everything would be targeted speaking to this individual. However, I do believe that individuals like this don't operate by themselves. They have to have a team. Usually to scale, you need to have some kind of support. And in that case, I would probably target for whoever is the gatekeeper. Who is the person that gets you to that person? Is it a VA? Is it an executive assistant? What are they looking for? Is it a social media manager? And that person will probably bring your idea or your solution to said individual. So those are two ways that I would go about it.
Thank you. Tell me more about the type of targeting you would do in terms of, you said lifestyle. For example, what would you target? Would you target, for example, people that are part of the Hilton Honors point system, or particular hotels? Or tell me more about that. Like, what kind of exact targeting would you do in order to these millionaires?
What are we selling? So I can try to be a little bit more specific. What would we be selling to these people?
Imagine you're selling a program of some sort, a high-ticket program.
A high-ticket coaching program.
Yes.
Okay. I would probably say, do you have any preference of what individuals do? Is it men? Is it women? Do they all have to live in the United States or not?
It can be global.
If they could be global. Preference for male or female, anything like that? Mothers? No?
No preference, no.
No preference. Okay, well, that is very broad. I would start with thinking about, I know I've said this before, but thinking about who is your client, right? Where are they located? Here's the thing. If you sell to everyone, you sell to no one, right? So in terms of lifestyle, you have to think of what are these people doing and target for it. So if they read certain authors, that's also something you could target for. If they live in certain areas, if they have certain hobbies, right? Do they go to the south of France every summer? Do they go to Europe? Do they like to go on a boat? So think of those things and you can target lifestyle based around that. Or if your person, right, is a millionaire, but they enjoy so many different kind of people, but I'm just going to make one up. Let's say this is a person who is really into fitness, right? They love waking up in the morning, meditating. They're very grounded. Maybe in the afternoon, they go to Pilates or they go to a sort of class. And then after that, they go and do some mindset work. They have their favorite authors. You could do an income group up there because they live in a safe community or they like certain things in that community and do certain sports. That's what I would do. And again, I don't know if those individuals themselves will be here on Facebook. Like I said, there's probably some kind of gatekeeper and it's probably easier to interact with them. But if you want to speak to them directly, be like, you can even say, hey, I know you're busy. Like in your messaging, you could be like, I know you're very busy. So send this to your team member and let's book a call. You could also be very tongue in cheek with it. That could also probably help. And I would also target for countries that are generically, more inclined to host this kind of individual. And one last thing is I would say, be careful of time zones because this has happened to me too. You don't want to target for people who have the money, but they live in Australia and it's so difficult to work with someone in that time zone. So be mindful of what countries you select, even though they tend to have more of high net worth individuals.
Thank you so much. And in terms of the ad type, so you mentioned video is one of your favorite. Do you also use image ads, carousel ads, and have you found any success with that in terms of targeting high net worth individuals, or targeting in general for effective return on investment with Facebook ads?
Yeah, I think still ads and carousels also have a place. Carousel ads are great to do things like social proof, to say, hey, look at all these people who have come before me, and you like scroll through all the evidence. That's like wonderful stuff. And a great way to implement something like that is, oh, sorry, I thought I was going to cough. A great way to implement something like that is to have one ad, and then your retargeting maybe will be a carousel ad with social proof to show, hey, others have come before me, look here. You could also do testimonials of just images, or you could do a mock-up of your product or your service, showing once again, like, hey, this is for you. I think we tend to forget image ads because we're so used to video, but they still do have a place. Another kind of form of ads that I really like, that I think people are really used to right now, is comment the word blank, and I'll send you 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a great ad as well to sort of run, right? A creative aside, like just the method of that, because it feels more personalized. It's like, oh, let me send this person a thing, and now you're in their inbox. And now you can continue the conversation, and you can segment before you even decide, like, is this person worth continuing this conversation with,
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential, so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.